Hello everyone, it is Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love sharing art from my heart and teaching you how to create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. Hello. Welcome to the Winter Deer in the Woods video tutorial. I'm going to turn my camera around and we are going to get started. If you have the kit, you have everything that you need to get started and paint, and you can fast forward to where the painting begins. If you have only downloaded the video, you need a couple of brushes, a medium-sized flat brush, a liner brush or a small round brush, a Sharpie, a pencil, your canvas, scissors, the template, and this is for two different paintings. You can do the deer or the couple. I'll explain that to you. And then you need a little bit of graphite paper. Okay, I have this piece right here. It's going to work fine. I am using an 11 by 14 canvas, and we want to break it up into thirds, approximately. We don't need a ruler. We don't have to draw perfectly straight lines. This is a scene in the woods. I'm just going to eyeball it and draw a line across what I'm guessing is the bottom third of my painting. Okay, or my surface. And then I'm just going to put a little notch here and a little notch here because I want my deer somewhere over here. So if you are using the deer, cut out the deer. If you are using the couple, cut out the couple, and I will explain why. You don't have to cut them out, exactly. I'm just cutting them out roughly. Well, I'm just going to cut my deer out roughly. But you would do the same if you were cutting out the couple. Same exact steps. The only difference is when it comes time to paint, you want to paint the umbrella red. But that's it. The rest will be black. So I'm going to take my deer. I'm going to line my deer up. I want his little hooves on the snow. I want him in between these two marks that I made. I don't want him center. I want him slightly to the side. It is up to you where you place your deer, but we want the brightest part of the painting, the light that's shining through the forest, to shine on our deer. So I'm just going to grab a piece of this tape. I'm going to tape that down. I'm going to slide my graphite paper under him, and I'm going to get tracing. Again, if you have the kit and your surface is already pre-traced, you are ready to go. And you can move forward to where I begin painting. Now this is just a silhouette. You want to be as careful as possible, but there's nothing perfect about it. A little tail in there, his back, and then up. And I believe I got everything. And I did. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of this. Save that for the next time. And put my tape away. Okay. I'm going to grab my Sharpie. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go around my deer with the Sharpie. This is so that when we start painting, we'll be able to see our lines, okay? If you wanted to paint and then come in and add your deer to the artwork after you've done your base coat, you totally can. I'm choosing to do it now, and I'm going to show you how easy it is for the people who have kits to just paint right over it and still be able to see your lines, okay? Make sure. Okay, so that is that. I'll put my pencil away and my Sharpie. Okay, I have out my colors here. White, black, a little bit of red, some mint green, and some light gray. You could also use, in place of the mint green, like a baby blue, a soft blue, a winter blue. That will work just as well. Okay. So I am going to, if you're using a brand new brush and you have a kit, you want to rinse your brush first and give it a good dry. I'm just going to dip mine in the water just to fix the fibers and have it all come together. And I am going to pick up some white. And we are starting with the white section of our deer. And I'm just going to come in here and see, I'm painting right over this guy. And I'm just going to start adding a decent amount of white paint over our deer. Vertical strokes, up and down. Okay, I did about 2 inches. And this, again, is 11 by 14 canvas, 14 inches wide. Now I'm going to pick up some gray. And I'm going to come next to the white, again vertically. But I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to move back into my white, and then I'm going to move back out to my gray. I'm going to pick up some more gray, and then I'm going to finish filling in, with my white. When we start our gray next to our white, but then we move towards our white, because we don't want a real harsh line here. We want to blend that line. But then we want the rest moving to the edge of the canvas to be gray. Now, if you want to paint the edges of your canvas, you can go right ahead and do that. You can do that now. You can hit the pause. There's some stuff in my paint that I'm not liking. It's totally up to you if you want to paint the edges of your canvas or not. Don't worry about this line down here being perfect, because again, we're in the forest. That's our ground line. There's going to be snow and stuff. It's fine if you come over a little bit. Don't fret. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush a little bit. And I'm going to go back into my white. Just want to get the gray out. And we're going to go back in here. And we're going to do the rest of this white part where it seems to be the brightest in our trees. Going over our deer. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to pick up a little bit of gray. I'm going to go to the outside of my white. And then I'm going to come in a little bit just to blend the line between the gray and the white. And then I'm going to go back to just gray. And I'm going to fill in the rest of this background with gray. I don't know if you can see my deer still in the camera, but I can see it. It is there. Guess I got a bad batch of gray or something. I have to look into that. So you want all these lines to be vertical. And I'm just going to continue all the way to the edge of my surface. Make sure you have enough paint. You should not struggle with your brush on your canvas or your surface, whatever it is you're painting. It should move smoothly. It should move as if it's like soft butter that you're spreading on. You should not have to fight to get it into the grooves, and you should not have to fight and use muscle to make your strokes. There should be plenty of paint on your brush, and your brush should move smoothly on your canvas. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we have the gray and we have the sunny part shining in on our deer. I think I'm going to grab a little bit of white and whiten this up a little bit here. I see my antlers weren't so much in the white spot, so I want to lighten that up a little bit. Yeah, I feel better now. Okay, all good. All right, wash with my brush. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the background on our bottom. I'm going to fill my brush with white. You want to get a decent amount of paint on your brush. Apply a little pressure. Don't be shy. You want your brush to move smoothly. And then I'm going to put a corner of my brush in this light green, this mint green color, and I'm going to start going back and forth, horizontal, and doing my snow. I'm going to pick up white, I'm going to pick up green on the corner every time, and now I'm going to base coat in the bottom of my canvas. White, corner in the green. Don't worry if your gray is still wet. It just makes a little bit of shading, and that is all okay. We have the snow to add to that line anyway, and it'll all be fine. White, a little bit of green, and come in here. If you want your bottom snowy part here to be more white, pick up more white. If you want it to be a little bit more green, pick up more green. It is totally up to you. It is your art. It is fine. And I'm just going down here and doing the bottom of my canvas over the white part. I call this wrapping the canvas. If you want to do the edges of your canvas and wrap them with the same color that you did on the face of the canvas, that's what I call wrapping. You don't have to paint the edges. You can leave them, or you can do something completely different on the edges. It is up to you. Okay? And again, I'm going to wash my brush. Feel free to hit pause at any point. If you need a break, if you need to catch up, if you want to get a snack. That is the beauty of having this video, that you can pause it whenever you choose to. Okay, now we're just going to add some background trees. I'm going to get the white. I'm still using my large brush. Okay. I'm going to use, instead of using the brush on the flat, which this would be the flat, instead of using the brush on the flat, we're going to use it on the chisel edge. I'm going to come in here to the gray area. I'm going to put my brush down, and I'm just going to pull up. Now these are almost like shadow trees. They're in the back, in the distance. My gray is still a little wet, and that's okay. I'm starting right on the horizon line or the ground line, and I am just pulling in these white trees into the background. There's nothing perfect about them. They don't have to be totally straight. They're trees, right? Nothing in nature is perfect. So if they're a little wider at some points, or a little bit curved at some points, or thicker or thinner, it's totally fine. These are not the focal point of our project. These are just some background trees that we're painting in. Okay? And then if you want, they can just have a few branches off in the distance in the background. And I do that just by adding like these little V marks. That's it. Not too much. Like I said, it's not the focal point of our project. So I'm going to wash my brush again. Now I'm going to turn my canvas upside down. Okay? And then I am going to use the same large brush, and I'm going to pick up some black paint. We're going to add in our black trees now. We want our black trees to start down in the snow, and we want them to come all the way up and off the top of the canvas. So I'm picking up some black paint. We're going to use our brush on the chisel edge again, not on the flat. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to squish my brush in a little bit, and I'm going to start to drag it up and right off the canvas. I'm going to put another one, running it right up. I'm applying a little bit of pressure to my brush so it gets a little thick, and I'm going right off the edge of my canvas. It is okay that my gray is still a little wet and it's mixing a little bit. It's just giving a little bit of shading character to my trees, and that is fine. I'm going to pick up some more black paint, and now we're going to move to the other side. Again, we want to start in our ground where our snow is. Your trees can be wonky, fat, wide, a little crooked. I might put this one in on a little bit of a angle. They're trees, right? It's just important to, when you come up here, to go right off the end of the canvas. It's like someone came in and just chopped the tops off. We don't want our tops to get tapered at all. We just want them to be straight, right off the canvas. There we go. And then I think I will do one more. And if you see, I actually even started them at a little bit different heights at the bottom, and I'll show you why when we get to that part. Right off the canvas. Okay, now I'm going to turn my brush back around. My canvas back around. I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to stick it in the water. Now I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to go to my smaller brush. I'm sticking with the black, and now I'm going to fill in my deer. If you were doing the couple, you're only going to do the bottom part of the couple in the black. You'll do the umbrella with the red. And then with doing the couple, you can, or you don't have to add the ornaments. We're going to get to that. That is up to you. But I'm switching to this smaller brush now. I'm going to try and not put my hand into my project. And I'm just going to start filling in the deer. I like to, when I get started doing things like this, I like to outline first. I feel like it helps my eye go where it needs to go. A little trick for you guys. If your brush gets away from you down here and you happen to fill in the gap between the front legs, let it dry and then come back with a little bit of white. If you try and mess with it and add the white now, you're going to make a mess. You're going to have gray. You're going to be unhappy. So just keep going. Let it dry. Finish outlining your deer and painting in your deer. And then later on, you can come back and just add a little bit of white in there. And that will put the separation back between his front legs and or his back legs if it happened with his back legs. His back legs happen to have more separation. So I'm just picking up a little bit of paint. And I'm filling in. A little bit up here for the ears and the head, neck. This is really a simple painting. You could change it to birch trees if you wanted. Again, you can use the couple walking. I'm just doing the antlers. And there we go. There's our deer, all base coated in. Okay. Now we're going to start adding some branches. And I got to tell you guys, I love doing trees. I love doing branches. And I could really get carried away. I'm just being honest. The first one I'm going to start with is here. The trick to adding branches, you don't want your branches to be a harsh L. They're more like a Y. You don't want your branches to be like crossing a T or making an E or an F. You want them to be like a Y. You want to use your brush. You want to have a nice amount of paint. You want to start on your trunk, come off at a Y, slowly pull it out, and get narrow. You start easing up on the pressure the further away you go. And so when you get to the end of your stroke, it's a little bit narrower. Start on the trunk, move out to a Y, and slowly bring up your brush. And so it gets a little bit more narrow at the end. And again, you can put as many of these branches as you want. There's no rule. You can follow it exactly like the picture if you want, which I can do to not confuse you, or try to do to not confuse you. Or you can just add as many branches as you want. Sometimes we put a little bit stubby branches down here as if they're just starting out. And I'm just going to keep going and adding in these Ys coming off my trunk and getting narrower as I go up. And then when you add the next ones, you want them to be even thinner as you pull up. Okay? So like I said, you can do your own thing, or you can follow the reference image that I provided with the kit. I'm being so-so. I wouldn't say I'm being exact, but kinda. And then a couple of little small ones down here. And then last but not least, and depending on the size, if you're painting on a 16 by 20, you might have 5 trees or 6 trees. You might have 3 trees here. Don't go by my number of trees. Go by how far you spaced yours out. And if you could add more, if you have too much gray, if you don't have enough gray, use your best judgment and see how many trees and then how many branches you want to add. Like I said, when I do haunted trees or Halloween stuff or winter trees that are just with all the, I live in the Northeast, so our winter trees are bare and all the leaves have fallen, I could just paint bare leaves with these Ys over and over and over again. It's quite therapeutic, but I think that's good for now. Okay? I think that is good for now because we're going to add snow to these branches and some of our trees. So the more branches you add, the more snow you have to add to your branches. And I'm going to wash my brush. Okay? Now at this point, we want to make sure our painting is dry. So depending on how fast you paint, I tend to paint a little quickly. Your painting may or may not be dry. Mine is not. So I'm going to get out my dryer and excuse me for 1 minute. I like painting these nature scenes. Well, there's nothing perfect about art to begin with, but I like painting these nature scenes because the trees don't have to be perfect. You don't need a ruler. It's nature. They can be thin, they can be thick, tall, short. I think that is pretty good for now. So let me drop that back down. Okay. Now we're going to add our ornaments to our branches. Again, I will follow the reference photo. This way, there's not any, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to use my brush. I'll show you what I'm going to do. Depending on your brush, if you have a brush like this, that's hard and round and has a nice round tip on the end, we're going to use that tip to do our ornaments. I'm going to put the brush handle into my red, and I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to draw a little round circle with the tip of my brush. I'm going to put another one up here. I'm going to put another one up here. Put another one over here. So that's 4. Put another one over here. A little bit more paint for that one. That's 5. Let's put another one up in here. And I'm going to do one more because I like odd numbers. And so we'll put it up here. Okay? And I'll wipe off the handle of my brush. And those ornaments just pop. They have a little bit of a glare to them. It looks like they have a white highlight in the camera, but they do not. Okay, I need a little bit more white. Put out some nice fresh white. And I'm going to use this brush again and get a nice amount of paint on it. And now I'm going to go in and I'm just going to dab in our snow line. I'm jumping over the trees. I'm using the brush more on the flat and I'm pouncing in. I want to set back his feet as if he's standing, our deer, or even if you're doing the couple, our couple is standing in the snow. If yours is not dry, you pick up a little bit of black, just wipe your brush off on your paper towel or your rag or whatever you have and come back in. And I'm just adding in, we don't want this to be a straight line. That's why we're dabbing, and it has a few different heights to it, and it's giving the paint a little bit of more of a thickness than as if we were brushing it on. And our trees are in front, so we want our dabbing paint to skip our trees and just go in between. And again, it could be different heights. And this is why I was telling you before that your line here between your gray and where we did our snow with the mint green and the white didn't really matter. Because when we come in here, you don't even know. Okay? Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do the same tapping thing. And I'm going to add oh, picked up a little bit of black there. I'm going to add a little bit of snow. And we're going to set our trees back. As if our trees are back, buried in the snow. And a little bit of snow piled up around them. This one's more dry. I moved over to the end because my two in the middle weren't that dry and I was picking up some black. But that's okay. I'm going to let it dry, and then when I'm all done, I'll go back and I'll add some fresh white over the top. And I'm just doing a little bit of a dabbing motion. So our trees look like they're a little bit buried in the snow. The snow came up their trunks a little bit. And they're just not hanging out, sticking out of the ground. If you too have picked up some black, just leave it be, and then you can come back when it dries and fix it. Okay? Now, here is the brightest part of our forest. Presumably the sun is up there somewhere. It might even be moon. Maybe it's a full moon. So we are going to take and we're going to start adding a little bit of glare, highlight. Does not have to be perfect. I'm just doing these little tiny strokes on the side of our trees that face the light. So in this case, it is this side, and then when I go to the other side, I'm going to do the other side. And I'm just going right up. That should be black. I'm jumping over the branches that come in front. And then, like I said, on this side, we're going to do this side here. That's facing the tree. Facing the light. So I'm just working my way right up the edges of these trees. They don't have to be perfectly straight lines. I'm just doing little dabbing strokes. It's the glare from the light, whatever it is, the sun or the moon, hitting this side of the tree. Okay. And then we want to go in and we want to add in snow to the tops of all our branches. And again, watch where your branches cross. And we're going to put snow up in all the tops of our branches. You might get a little mixed up between what is glare and what is snow, but that's okay. This is just a little bit of an abstract painting. That's all fine. I'm not going to put snow on top of my ornaments because I don't want to get pink. But I am just going in with the very tip of my brush and putting snow in on the top of the branches wherever I think snow would have naturally landed and sat in the crook of the tree. And that little one. I'm going to jump over areas where the branch is coming out and there wouldn't be snow. Same thing here. That branch is going up in the other way. So there we go. A couple more on this side. And I think, am I missing any? Oh wait, you guys can't tell me. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Okay. And again, now I'm going to go back to using the back of my brush with my white. And I'm going to start adding snow everywhere. I usually get 3 dips, or 3 dots rather, for every dip. You can put them on your deer. I feel like when they're on the deer, it almost looks like the deer is a little polka dotty. So I'm going to avoid my deer. You can put them on the deer. It's up to you. If you have anything that maybe you dropped your brush, or there was an area you didn't like, or maybe you splattered paint, be very strategic then about where you put your snow dots, because you want to cover up those things. We'll put some down here. And again, so if you were doing the couple, you would do the couple walking with the black, and then you would do the umbrella with the red, and then you could or could not do ornaments. That is totally up to you. And again, add as many of these snowflakes or fake snow or snow dots as you want. It's your art. And naturally, as you run out of paint on the end of your brush, your dots become different sizes. You know what I think I'm going to do? I am going to get a little bit of white, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put a little bit of white on his antlers. The same way on his antlers that we did. Maybe on top of his ears a little bit, his antlers, same way we did on the branches. There we go. And that is it. There is our winter scene with our deer. So let me turn you guys around. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Thank you for supporting my small art business. I love helping you create a little joy and having a little downtime, me time, fun time creating. I will go back. These have to dry. I will go back in maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I'll hit them with my dryer again and make sure those are nice and freshly white by my trees. But other than that, we're good to go. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, night, whatever it is. See you soon.